I don't have things that because they're valuable or because what they represent at the time. Nothing is very valuable anyway. Well, my mother was a great collector, and it just sort of started like that. I mean, coins and then what happened was that there was a shed in the garden which was full of furniture, and I loved that shed, and I used to go and rearrange it all. Well, I got the feeling that I was in control of something, that I wasn't being told what to do. There was all this world that I could manipulate to my own advantage and pleasure. And that's when I started what is called interior decorating now. I decided that the only way I could be happy was to leave school, and I went on a wonderful dig in Masada. It was a wonderful place in Israel. Well, Masada was advertised in the Observer, and they asked for volunteers, and I thought, well, why not? It was freedom, and there was nobody telling me what to do. This is a Ming Chinese, it's a brush holder. You store all your brushes in it, but it's in crystal. This is my horse's tail. I did a wonderful trip across Asia on a horse. I adored it. Oxford was okay, but after my first term, my mother arrived and said, "You've got to leave because your stepfather has left and there's no money." So I went to see my tutor and I told him this, and he said, "It's out of the question. You can't possibly leave. You can leave for 2 terms, go and sort your mother out, and then you must come back." So I did that, and I ended up pretty wealthy actually because I was allowed to deal, and I had wonderful clients. But in those days, you see, you could get on a bus in Oxford, which is what I used to do. And by the time I got to Burford, I could have stopped at 4 or 5 different villages, all of which had junk shops and antique shops, all of which I bought things from. In one day, I could do 10 or 12 shops pretty easily. These I bought from Robin Eden, who was a great dealer in the old days in Corsham, and they're from Longleat, 1580 probably. This is a Nottingham alabaster, medieval, and it's Christ rising from the tomb with the sleeping soldiers, so they're all asleep. After Oxford, I went to work for Miriam Rothschild, and I loved it. She was selling all the furniture from her house, and she'd fallen out with Christie's and fallen out with Sotheby's. And she got me to do it, and I loved it. I made one condition, which was that I didn't do the pricing, and it worked fine, and I enjoyed that. Well, the one person in my life who I really admire and was a wonderful man was Geoffrey Benison, and he was a dealer. He used to come to my shop every week and always bought things, and he used to come and sit in one of the rooms of our house, and I'd say, "What are you doing, Geoffrey?" You know, he said, "I am just learning," and he would sit there and absorb all the colours and stuff that were in the room, and he was a very, very clever man and terrifically good dealer. I learnt so much in those days. Egypt, of course, is the great travel spot that I go to all the time. I still go twice a year to Egypt. Absolutely adore it. It's really incredible. And I had a house in Fayoum, which is about 80 miles southwest of Cairo. I mean, they tend to be full of junk. Is it a bit of a mess to you? I bought this for £38. It's a flint dagger. It was found in Avebury. And these are rather beautiful too. These are the eyes of a pharaoh. I just find it absolutely fascinating, Egypt. I love this, you see, this is a sarcophagus for the cats. This is an old chair leg. Useless thing. I mean, well, he says it's 2000 BC. This is quite nice. This is a beard. You know, that all rather nice, isn't it? This is rather beautiful. It's a bezoard. So it would be medieval. And they're very, very rare, and they were incredibly valuable in the Middle Ages. They're not, I mean, I don't think I pay very much for this, but they are incredibly interesting. And the screen I like very much. That cost £8. And I like this picture too, which is, do you see it's got half a sun in it? So the man is half a son, he's a bastard. He's bearing the arms of his father, who was a peasant, but his mother was grand. But he can't inherit any title or land because he's his wife's bastard. But if he was the father's bastard, he would have a bar sinister and he would be fine. So he's rather disaffected, and I rather like him, but he's beautifully painted, but he's just a bit sad. I don't know how you describe romance, actually, but some objects have it. They just have something that is more than themselves. If you're interested in them, you can communicate it, and they can communicate it too. And it's just magic. It's just how life is. My jumble, it's such a mess everywhere. This is Indian, 18th century. These are all Lear. I think he's such a genius. These are all my pots. I bought those all 20, 40 years ago, that sort of date. These candle sconces are rather beautiful. They're by Ernest Jimpson. I like that stump work. This is Solomon and Sheba, and this is all, you see, it's in incredible relief. In a funny way, I never thought of myself as, I still don't actually, as a decorator. I don't see it as anything different from what I do all the time anyway. So it doesn't seem to be a job. It's just something that I can do and have always done.